God moves on the water. Dude, I'm trying to find something here. My phone can't take a charge. It's fucking broken, I think. I don't know. So I'm like 2 seconds away from like just heading out. All I have to do is find a pencil or mechanical pencil and head out, I guess. I need to draw like five drawings a day. Yeah, like 5 drawings a day. It's gonna be real fun when April comes around and I have to move. You guys are gonna be very entertained by that, I think, because where I'm moving to is not like this. So I bought 3 books recently off this website. It's Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirit, or Phenomenology of Spirit. The Dark Enlightenment by Nick Land. I don't know. Looked interesting. And I got Feng Noumena. So, during the 1990s, British philosopher Nick Land's unique work, variously described as rabid nihilism, mad black delusionism, and cyber gothic, developed perhaps the only rigorous and culturally engaged escape route out of the malaise of continental philosophy. A route that was implacably blocked by the Academy. However, Land's work has continued to exert an influence both through the British speculative realist philosophers who studied with him and through the many cultural producers, writers, artists, musicians, filmmakers who have been invigorated by his uncompromising and abrasive philosophical vision. Beginning with Land's early radical rereadings of Heidegger, Nietzsche, Kant, and Bataille. The volume collects together the papers, talks, and articles of the mid-90s, long the subject of rumor and vague legend, including some work which has never previously appeared in print, in which Land developed his futuristic theory fiction of cyber-capitalism gone amok, and ends with his enigmatic later writings in which Baudelarian fictions, poetics, cryptography, anthropology, grammatology, and the occult are smeared into unrecognizable hybrids. Feng Noumena gives a dizzying perspective on the entire trajectory of this provocative, influential thinker's work, and has introduced his unique voice to a generation of readers. And then the Dark Enlightenment has a gayer overview. Neo-reaction is not your grandfather's conservatism, but the Web 2.0 era marriage between modern engineering principles and classical anti-democratic thought. Its central tenet is that the Enlightenment was a mistake, and in the Dark Enlightenment, Nick Land burns progressivism down to the ground, salts the earth around its ashes, and raises an altar to anti-humanism in its place. That sounds fucking stupid, but go on. I bought it because it looked interesting, but I don't really buy into a lot of the ideas. Land explicates the main ideas of neo-reaction, the cathedral, neo-cameralism, formalism, etc., always viewing democracy, liberalism, and politics in general through the lens of Darwinism. The result is something like Thomas Hobbes as ghostwritten by H.P. Lovecraft. Included in this volume is an unreleased essay by Land on the writing and the impact of the Dark Enlightenment. Absolutely none of this incendiary work has been proven wrong in 10 years since it was written. No doubt it will remain relevant for many years to come. And then for the phenomenology of spirit, it doesn't have a... Here we go. Overview. This brilliant study of the stages in the mind's necessary progress from immediate sense consciousness to the position of a scientific philosophy includes an introductory essay and a paragraph-by-paragraph analysis of the text to help the reader understand this most difficult and most influential of Hegel's works. So this book, Phenomenology of Spirit, influenced Karl Marx. I've never read a single thing by Karl Marx, and I do not really ascribe to any sort of political philosophy. But Hegel was always a name that got thrown around when I was reading philosophy, along the names of Kant and Nietzsche and other German philosophers such as Schopenhauer. So I wanted to complete my breadth of knowledge there with Hegel. And here, this guy is a OG. He said he took an undergraduate course in social and political philosophy at Penn State in 1968. This was posted January 7th, 2010 for this review. He said the syllabus listed 4 books as required reading: Marcuse's One-Dimensional Man, de Beauvoir's The Ethics of Ambiguity, Plato's Republic, and Hegel's The Phenomenology of Mind. So that's what a undergraduate was reading for for a philosophy course in 1968. When I took philosophy in college, we didn't read books like that. So I feel like that's just a part of the dumbing down of society, honestly. Um, when I went to college, it felt more like adult daycare than it was learning valuable skills for a career. But nonetheless, let's keep reading. None of the books was light reading, and finding common themes that intimated their kinship for inclusion on the same reading list was not at all easy. Of the four, the one that was far and away the most difficult was Hegel's Phenomenology. Fortunately, the instructor and his teaching assistant took Hegel very seriously, and they spent a good deal of time helping their students understand his extraordinarily convoluted and determinedly dense prose offerings. Otherwise, I can think of only one member of the class of about 30 students, definitely not me, who would have been able to get through the Phenomenology with even a modicum of understanding. As it was, I still had trouble grasping the way the instructor wanted us to understand crucial ideas such as the unhappy consciousness and the master-slave relationship. Nevertheless, perhaps because I was majoring in sociology and had taken a couple of courses in social psychology, Hegel's treatment of the emergence of an individuated self struck me, and still strikes me as simply brilliant. In the beginning, one experiences one's self as everything. There is no other. Inevitably, however, resistance is encountered, and the notion of another, something alien to the encompassing self, becomes apparent. This, in its most basic Hegelian form, is alienation, meaning in the abstract the reality of otherness. The dialectical process involving repeated encounters with and accommodations to otherness results in the emergence of a concrete, self-aware, and individuated consciousness that knows that alien social terrain is inescapable. The very idea of an individuated self and the necessity of its emergence had not occurred to me before I read the Phenomenology. It is, after all, something we take for granted, recognizing it unself-consciously, but without awareness. The fact that Hegel could use a dialectical method to identify and explain its emergence was, in my view, a manifestation of unqualified genius in speculative philosophy. It remains true, however, that those who complain that Hegel could have written with much greater clarity, making the Phenomenology accessible to a broader 18th century and now 21st century audience, have a point. Perhaps Hegel anticipated that his only readers would be scholars such as himself, but even in his day, that was not the case. After all, Kant had earlier written the Prolegomena to any future metaphysics to assist readers with the critique of pure reason. As it is, I can't imagine getting through the Phenomenology without a good deal of help. Having come to terms with the Phenomenology, however, one will recognize Hegel's influence on important point, and it just ends there. Sometimes I look at like my hairline and I'm like, maybe I should just say fuck it and start taking like the pills to fucking regrow it, because I mean at this point it doesn't really matter if I affect my hormones that much, because I'm not fucking anyways, you know. Might as well look good for myself. Pulp Fiction at its absolute best, but I'm too chicken to do that shit because I know that stuff's not good for you in the long term, and I value health more than I value superficial shit. Very funny. Okay, so here's the plan. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna try to find a pencil in here. I'm gonna wash my hair and leave and draw for a little bit and I guess read. Got nothing else better to do, and that's just the way it is, I guess. I went outside and I saw people and their children like playing on the playground, and it kind of depressed me a little bit because underneath all that joy, that seeming joy for now, I can't help but feel like it's gonna be dashed away one day, you know. Like these kids are like playing around on the playground while their parents are just kind of like doing their thing. But I just underneath all that that energy is just something brewing, you know? Because the way that life is going right now, the trajectory of it is not good. Everything is sort of becoming worse over time, and these kids are going to have to grow up in that world. And I don't think the parents who have bred these children into existence are really taking that into account. The fact that, one, education is becoming worse, the job market is becoming worse, and everything when it comes to human creativity is getting undermined. So when these kids grow up into this world and they become adults, are they gonna get the same treatment? Are they gonna be babied as adults essentially, and not be taught any real skills and substance and value things, or you know, I don't know. I think it's bad. I think the future is very bleak, and I think it's gonna be fucked up. Every time I go out in public, I see actors everywhere. You know, the adults are great actors. The children aren't actors. They're just sincere. They believe in the act of the parents and the adults, but when they grow and they learn, they'll eventually see the illusions, and the wool will be pulled away from their eyes, and then they'll realize there's not much to this life. So I feel like as a dude, as like guys, we sort of are the paragons to culture, and whatever we're doing, the world tries to peer into it and follow. So I guess that's just what you have to do if you're a guy. You have to not, there is nothing going on outside. There's never anything interesting going on outside. The people aren't doing anything very interesting. They're walking around, they're buying stuff that's not very good. They're buying material objects that don't last a long time, and then it disappears. But the act of creation is the only saving grace to living, in my opinion. The only saving grace to life itself is not the relationships that sour. It's not the memories. It's not any of that. It's the act of creation and making something and making it your own. And that's really the only thing that you have in the world. Men can have their God and they can have themselves, but they have to make something in order for it to be theirs, you know? I'm not really sure where the impulse comes from that, or why it's so necessary. But making something and then having it exist outside of yourself is very important, and I don't know why that is important. But so I gotta get out of here. I hate the traffic over here, man. But let's do it. All right, I gotta go. Find a pencil and do shit. So I'll see you later. Yo, what's up, Tsar Alexander Nevsky? That is a cool name, my guy. Why are you saying hey to me right now? You should have been saying hey to me before. Is that a real person? Alexander Nevsky was a legendary 13th century prince of Novgorod and Vladimir, canonized as a saint by the Russian Orthodox Church in 1547. Renowned for defending Russia against Swedish and German invaders, his most famous victories were the Battle of Neva and the Battle of Yeisk. Came to see me drawing? Are you following me? Do you follow my channel? Yeah, I draw sometimes. I'm not drawing this stream. I'm about to leave actually to go draw. I know I have so much aura. I guess. I think people get life all wrong. I don't think you're supposed to be happy in life. I don't think that's the point. Thank you for following. I don't you don't come here often, so that's why I had to question it. But you know I draw, so that made me think, okay, so he does follow me. I have to go draw some shit, so I have to go to like the coffee shop and do shit. And I gotta do that like now. So I'll talk to you guys later, okay? I'll be back on tonight or something. Okay.